Fans at Michael's 8th Avenue in Glen Burnie, Maryland are ready for a huge night of boxing as Ballroom Boxing returns tonight from Michael's. Hi again, everybody. I'm Larry Michael. Great to be back with my partner, Jon Saraceno. In fact, Jon, tonight is Hasim Rahman against Rob Calloway. Probably more on the line in this one than in any other fight we've had in the Ballroom Boxing series.
And there's no question about that, Larry. And there's a lot on the line for Hasim Rahman. He's only 31 years old, former heavyweight champion, still a very competitive fighter in a very weak division. He's got a terrific jab, Sonny Liston-like even, and if he gets in peak physical condition, Larry, he can still challenge for the heavyweight championship.
Now, Rahman is rated #1 by the WBA. When he began his comeback here at Michael's, in fact, several months ago, he did not think it would lead him to the #1 spot so quickly.
I just wanted to take a couple fights and work my way back up. Fortunately, the 3 guys that was ahead of me all fought for world titles, so that elevated me a little quicker than I thought. But you know, I'm right on course. I feel like, you know, a good performance tomorrow, and that'll be that.
You can hear how Hasim Rahman is surprised by the fact he's been able to climb back in contention so quickly, Larry. But really, it's not a surprise at all because he can be a force in the division, and the heavyweight division really needs a Hasim Rahman.
Now, his opponent tonight, Jon, Rob Calloway, makes no bones about it. This is his fight of a lifetime.
Well, I mean, it's definitely the biggest fight of my career. You know, it means the world to me as I've been training hard for 12 years as a professional to get to this point. And, you know, I think Rock's probably the most popular heavyweight out there besides Tyson and Holyfield, and neither one of them are heavyweight champs. So it's a great opportunity for me, and I'm looking very forward to it.
So it is Hasim Rahman against Rob Calloway in our main event. So much riding on this fight for Rahman. He needs to take care of business tonight in the Ballroom. Also in the Ballroom tonight, unbeaten Kenny Lunkins taking on Forrest Neal. We saw Lunkins here last time out, Jon, after a long layoff, taking on Eric Starr. What do you expect from Lunkins tonight?
Well, I expect a stiffer challenge, and Lunkins, for the key to him, Larry, he's got to stay busy. He's been very inactive the last couple of years. Activity is going to make him a contender.
Also in a heavyweight matchup tonight, Domonic Jenkins taking on Brandon Cabell, who we've seen in the Ballroom before. He looked impressive last time out.
Yes, against Alakinye, and that's the kind of fight that really gave him the confidence to take this fight. Let's see more of the same tonight.
Also in the Ballroom tonight, a special attraction, Luis Rosales and Matt Hill. In fact, these guys fought several years ago. There is an old grudge to settle tonight.
There was a clash of heads. Both guys thought the other guy started. Tonight we get to settle it.
So, of course, the main event in our spotlight tonight, Hasim Rahman and Rob Calloway. And, Jon, I would think that anything short of an impressive performance for Rahman tonight would be a big disappointment for The Rock.
I think it would personally be a big disappointment. His son, Rock Jr., Hasim Jr.'s 13th birthday was this week, and he wants to really make his son celebrate in grand fashion. Rahman would also like to create a buzz in the heavyweight division, Larry, which nobody's really been able to do. Even if he wins unimpressively, he should be able to retain that #1 rank in the WBA and eventually challenge John Ruiz for the title.
That's our main event, but first, Ballroom Boxing begins in a moment. Welcome back to Ballroom Boxing. Larry Michael and Jon Saraceno. Luis Rosales and Matt Hill have done this before. They're going to do it again tonight. Jon Scheinman with more on these two. Jon.
Well, I'll tell you something, Larry. These two guys, neither of them has a winning record. In fact, Matt Hill 5-22-2 with 4 knockouts. But they are both explosive fighters who give all-out kamikaze-type efforts in the ring. Their first meeting was so wild that they had a clash of heads, and neither of the fighters could continue after the second round. We're going to settle the score tonight, and one of them is going to pick up a very cherished win because neither of them get them very often.
Now, Rosales hasn't fought in a while. Let's get this one started officially with Pat O'Malley.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's time now for more Ballroom Boxing. The Maryland State Athletic Commission Chairman David J. Norman, Executive Director Patrick Pinello, and Ballroom Boxing promoters Scott and Michael J. Wagner, matchmaker Chris Middendorf, and Director of Boxing Operations Dave Wilkerson present this 4-round bout in the junior middleweight division. Your referee in charge is John Gradowski. Judging the bout at ringside are Kenny Chevalier, Bill Holmes, and Malik Waleed. The scorekeeper is Pat Pinello. The timekeeper is Don Risher. Introducing the boxers. First to my right, out of the blue corner, wearing the blue trunks with red stripes. He weighed in at 149.5 pounds. He comes to us from Wilmington, Delaware, via Nicaragua. His record, 5-8-1 2 via the KO. Please welcome to the ballroom, Luis Rosales. To my left, out of the red corner, wearing the black trunks. He weighed in at 148.25 pounds. He is from Reisterstown, Maryland. His record, 5-22-2, 4 via the KO. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Matt Hill.
Matt Hill and Luis Rosales. These guys fought before. We talked about that back in 1999. It was a technical draw.
Gentlemen, you received your instructions in the dressing room. I want a good, clean, professional fight, okay? That's good. That's good. Touch them up. Go to your corners. Wait for the bell.
All right, let's take a look at the matchup, Jon Saraceno.
Well, Matt Hill, you see the longer linear reach, but the fight reach, actually Rosales has a half-inch advantage. And, of course, the big number, age. Matt Hill, 35 years old. Let's see if he can fight Father Time and Luis Rosales tonight.
Well, Rosales has not fought in 3 years. Last time out here in the ballroom, he lost a 4-round TKO to Ebo Elder. So we're underway. And Rosales and Matt Hill come out swinging. Hill connects with a right hand. Rosales hasn't been in the ring in 3 years, and it's staying right in there with Matt Hill with the losing record of 5-21. He's looking for a win here tonight. Rosales tags Hill with a good, strong right hand.
Well, Matt Hill was poised in his corner for about 5 minutes, almost like a sprinter getting ready in the blocks to take off against Rosario, and that's what he's done. Rosales, excuse me.
John, there is no feeling out process here as both men just throwing down from the opening bell.
Well, they're feeling something, but they're not being tentative, no doubt.
Well, that's what you call a crowd-pleasing fight. Scott Wagner predicted this.
Well, let's face it, this people want to see, Larry. They want to see two guys go at it. Not a lot of boxing skill here, just brute force and crude brute force.
Good left hand by Rosales. And you see Matt Hill pushing him down, almost with the right hand. Question here for both of these guys is, can they keep this pace up?
I wonder if Rosales is right now thinking, gee, I should have stayed out of fourth here.
Well, this fight is scheduled for 4 rounds, and it's been a very quick start to round 1.
Rosales has a couple of tattoos on him, and I think Hill's added a couple more.
Rosales has wobbled that time, but somehow stays upright. And again, they're going to slow down here momentarily, John. There's no way they can keep that work rate up.
Well, Hill is actually initiating clinches on the inside.
Last time out for Matt Hill, he lost to Stephen Hamm by way of knockout in the 4th round back in April of this year. Good left hand by Rosales, scores, and a right hand counter by Matt Hill.
Well, now you know why these guys had a headbutt in their first fight. The way they're fighting, they're going to have another one.
Wow, some heavy leather being thrown by both men.
And these guys do not like each other, and that is not height.
Body shot by Rosales. Both men have scored with some power shots here in round 1. You say there's nothing pretty about this one. That punch is a tough one. John Riowski, we heard him say step back.
Ready? Box.
I haven't seen this much animosity since Clinton Lewinsky.
You guys are holding.
Should have saved that for the column, John.
The way I'm going, I need to.
Rosales misses wildly with the left hand. Good body shot. The right hand by Rosales. You can see the starch coming out of the punches of Matt Hill.
And Rosales has done that a couple of times, Larry.
Quick pace to start this one, scheduled for 4 in the ballroom. Looking at action from round 1, Rosales and Matt Hill wasted no time getting this one started.
Well, good left hand there by Rosales. That was just a wild slugfest. Left hook by Hill on the inside.
More of the same to start round 2. Good left hand by Rosales. I think that shook Hill a little bit. Good right hand by Matt Hill. Kind of a slapping punch. Didn't get full force behind it.
I don't think these guys could spell jab if you spotted them the J-A. They are just throwing roundhouse right hands and left hooks All power punches. Not a lot of connects, though, in that first round, according to CompuBox. Very low connect numbers.
First clinch of the fight. Matt Hill holding the left hand of Rosales. Rosales has fought here on 3 separate occasions, winning 2 and losing 1. Nice combination on the counter by Matt Hill. Hill in the black trunks, Rosales in the blue trunks with a red trim.
Well, this is what you call the proverbial action-packed fight.
Rosales really looking for some oxygen. Beautiful body shot followed by a left hand, and Matt Hill is hurt. Rosales going right after him, and Hill falls into the front row, falls into the CompuBox table. And we'll see if he is okay. It looks like he might have hit his head back against that table.
Okay, this guy wants to fight again. He's ready to go. But you know what? The referee, Gradowski, should look very closely at him. He's a little wobbly. He struck his head on that table, it appeared.
Looked like he did. Rosales looking to finish it off. One good shot might do it.
Well, the body punching's what is winning this fight for Luis Rosales.
Hill trying to hold on, firing back. He's got tons of heart.
Larry, we've seen everything here on the Ballroom Boxing Series, but we've never, ever seen a guy get knocked clean out of the ring.
You're right about that. That's a first for us, John. And Hill climbs back into the ring. In fact, one of the famous fighters to have fallen out of the ring is from our main event, Hasim Rahman against Oleg Maskiev.
Yes.
Somehow Hill has recovered here.
And he looked like he was pretty much ready to go. And he got back in the ring, and there he hurt Rosales.
Rosales holding on against the ropes now.
Oh.
And a warning from John Gradowski for holding and hitting.
Well, that's exactly what he did. Rosales has complained to Gradowski, but that's exactly what he did.
Somehow Matt Hill has come back after being knocked clean out of the ring. Heavy right hand by Rosales, punching off the dome of Hill.
Hill's got no defense. Rosales is telegraphing all of his punches, and Hill can't get out of the way. He just leads with his face.
Great round for Luis Rosales, puts Matt Hill through the ropes and out of the ring, and somehow Hill comes back and competes. Welcome back to the ballroom. Let's take a look at what happened in round 2. This is the sequence by which Matt Hill got knocked through the ropes and outside the ring. It was not ruled a knockdown, John.
Well, we're going to see if there's a clean shot. He just backed his way through the ropes without being hit.
Yep, and he pushed him through. A little bit of a push there, and Matt Hill found himself leaning on the CompuBox table outside the ring. Another left hand by Rosales here as round 3 begins. This fight is scheduled for 4 rounds in the ballroom. Speaking of CompuBox, the stats. Power shots in round 1. Hill threw many, but didn't land many. Mouthpiece goes flying out of the mouth of Matt Hill. These guys are toe-to-toe, neither man taking a step back.
This may be the best action-packed fight we've ever had here. And we've had some doozies.
Wow.
Not a lot of skill, but you know what? When you're throwing leather like that, nobody really cares, let's face it. These guys have not stopped. It's not...
Matt Hill won't take his eyes off Rosales. He is possessed in this bout. Well, anything's going to happen in this one, John.
Don't take your eyes off the screen.
Nice right hand by Rosales. Obviously not enough to put Hill down, who's double tough.
Well, Rosales is a crude slugger, but I tell you what, he applies so much pressure that Hill has been in a real fight. And the same for Rosales.
But both these guys have put a lot of effort in, John. Let's go to John Scheinman quickly for the scorecard, even though we are midway through round 3. John?
Larry, I didn't, even though that knocked out of the ring was not ruled a knockdown, I scored a 10-8 for Rosales. I thought he dominated the round. I have him ahead 19-18 after 2.
All right, thank you, John Scheinman. Action-packed fight here in the ballroom. Luis Rosales in the blue trunks with the red trim. Matt Hill with the black trunks. I mean, these guys, there's a cut under the left eye, I believe, of Matt Hill. Got Rosales up against the ropes trying to counterpunch.
Hill throws from so many bad angles. He's so off balance. If he could get some balance, he might be able to punch and stop Rosales. I doubt it, but both guys really squared up against each other.
Rosales holding and hitting.
Well, actually, Hill had his arm locked.
Boy, this has been a brutal fight so far.
Somebody's mouthpiece is out, Larry, and it looks like it's Hill's.
Second time in this round that Hill has lost the mouthpiece. And a timeout here in round 3. Rosales is exhausted. Just look at him over there, Johnny. He doesn't have a whole lot left in the gas tank. If Matt Hill could get something going, he could turn it around.
Well, both these fighters are going to be spent physically, and this is only a scheduled 4-rounder. You know, there's no way they could fight this kind of a pace if it was going to be near. And again, somebody spit the bit, and it was
Matt Hill.
Yep, spitting his mouthpiece.
That's the smallest mouthpiece I've ever seen.
Probably feels he can breathe better without it, and also to get a break. Mostly to get a break.
Well, Matt Hill has seen better days. Clock winding down here on the 3rd round. And there you go, end of 3. 3 minutes to go here in the ballroom. All right, welcome back to the ballroom. 3 minutes to go in a slugfest. You look at the records, both men have losing records, but the competition certainly engaging to the crowd, John.
Well, this is the kind of fight that people pay to see money to watch, and why we're here broadcasting these fights. And this is what the Ballroom Boxing Series over the last 9 years has been known for.
Connect percentage of power shots through round 3. You see Rosales 38%, Hill 28%. And I would have to think that gives him the edge on your scorecard as well, Jon Scheinman.
Actually, it doesn't, even though his mouthpiece got knocked out 3 times in that round. I thought Matt Hill did the better work, landed the better shots. I've got it all even, 28-28 going into the 4th round.
Well, there you go. What about you, Mr. Saraceno?
I got Rosales ahead.
Matt Hill, big left hand, slapping punch, but Rosales is fatigued, even though slapping punches doing some damage.
Well, when you miss with the punches like he does too, Larry, it takes a lot of wind out of your sails. And when Rosales misses, he misses big.
Rosales switching to the southpaw stance, probably because of the fatigue. Matt Hill looks like he's got a little bit left. Good body shot that time by Matt Hill. This fight could be closer than you think. That was not ruled a knockdown in round 2, and Hill got knocked clean out of the ring. Knockdown for either man here, though, would be huge.
Well, a lot of arm punching right now.
A nice body shot that time by Rosales, who's done some pretty good body work in this fight.
Well, I tell you what, they gave these fans their money worth. There's no question about that. And every time Rosales has had trouble, he's gone back to the body of Hill, and it's worked well for him. I think if he had sustained that body attack longer, instead of just been a wild free swinger, he could have broken Hill down a little more systematically. He might have been able to stop him.
Tough, though, when you've been out of the ring for 3 years.
And it shows.
As Rosales has.
You've got rust all over your nice tuxedo.
Yeah, that's right.
Send that bill to Scott Wagner, the promoter.
Approaching the 1 minute mark in the 4th and final round.
Better yet, send the bill to Chris Mittendorf, the guy who made the match.
That's right. Well, both these guys.
No, it's terrific matchmaking. I mean, these guys are about as even as you're going to get, plus they don't like each other.
Yeah, I mean, it's been an action fight for sure. Things slowing down naturally here because of fatigue in the 4th and final round. This 4th round, John, has been a tough one to call in terms of the scorecard, I would think.
Yeah, very close round. Oh, there goes his, 3 great shots by Rosales.
Hill's about to go.
Right on our lap.
One punch and he might be gone.
That may turn the tide for Rosales in this fight. That was a huge sequence.
Somehow Matt Hill still upright. 10 seconds to go in the fourth and final round. It looks like he will finish the fight upright.
Well, he is wobbly, Hill. Right in front of us, Larry.
Great fight. Goes the distance. Rosales and Hill in the ballroom. A rematch of a fight they had in 1999.
Wow.
And the crowd loves it. They're on their feet.
That was a tremendous action-packed bout in Glen Burnie, Maryland, the home of ballroom boxing. Two warriors right there.
The decision when we return. Thrilling fight goes the distance here in the ballroom. Let's find out who won from Pat O'Malley.
Your attention, please, ladies and gentlemen. We go to the scorecards for the verdict. Judge Bill Holmes scores it 40-36. Judge Kenny Chevalier scores it 39-37. And Judge Malik Waleed scores it 39-37. The winner by unanimous decision, Luis Rosales.
No big surprise there. Rosales wins the decision over Matt Hill. Rosales the more active of the two. Tough to have a loser in that one. Matt Hill did all he could to make it a fight.
Well, he brought the fight to him. There's no question. I thought Rosales was really the more effective aggressor and landed the bigger shots, Larry. He snapped Hill's head several times in that fight. And that aggressiveness, even though he missed with a lot of punches, earned him a hard-fought victory.
We'll be right back with more Ballroom Boxing. Two big heavyweights in the ring. Domonic Jenkins and Brandon Cabell. Very evenly matched fight between two very big men. With more on this one, let's go to Jon Scheinman.
Larry, this is an intriguing fight and a night of heavyweight action. Brandon Cabell, a local kid who I didn't think looked particularly promising when he started off his career. Big turnaround in a fight at Washington, D.C. last year against Willis Lockett. Set him on his way to all of a sudden looking like a prospect. Last time we saw him was here in the ballroom. He knocked out Adelia Lockinier. Excuse me, won on a decision. His opponent tonight, Domonic Jenkins, a rough and tough guy. All his fights have come against fighters with winning records. So at 4-1-1, he could be very tough for Cabell. I see this as a toss-up.
We'll be back with Pat O'Malley and the introduction of the fighters in a moment. Welcome back to Ballroom Boxing. Now let's go to Pat O'Malley for the introduction of the fighters.
Your attention, please, ladies and gentlemen. It's time now for more Ballroom Boxing. The Maryland State Athletic Commission Chairman, David J. Norman, Executive Director, Patrick Pinello, and Ballroom Boxing promoters, Scott and Michael J. Wagner, matchmaker Chris Middendorf, and the Director of Boxing Operations, Dave Wilkerson, present this 4-round bout in the heavyweight division. Your referee in charge is Kenny Chevalier. Judging the bout at ringside, Gary Campaneschi, John Gradowski, and Malik Waleed. The scorekeeper is Pat Pinello. The timekeeper is Don Risher. Introducing the boxers. First, to my right, out of the blue corner, wearing the royal blue trunks. He weighed in at 218 3/4 pounds from Dallas, Texas. His record, 4-1-1, won via the KO. Please welcome Domonic Jenkins. To my left, out of the red corner, wearing the black and red trunks. He weighed in at 228 1/4 pounds. He hails from Baltimore, Maryland. His record, 3-0-1. Please welcome to the ballroom, Brandon the Beast Cobell.
Brandon Cabell has fought in the ballroom before on 2 occasions, had a draw and a victory. Kenny Chevalier, one of the best referees in the entire world, will be in charge of this one, the third man in the ring. And taking a look at the matchup, here's Jon Saraceno.
Well, two very large men in the ring, 6'4". Cabell with a roughly 10-pound weight advantage. We'll see if that plays into this evening.
Domonic Jenkins last time out, a unanimous decision winner over Hector Ferreira back in April of this year in Laredo, Texas. And this one's underway. Cabell in the black trunks with the red trim. Jenkins in the blue trunks. Tall, lean heavyweights in the ring. Fight scheduled for 4 rounds. Jenkins' losses have come on by way of knockout. 2 times he's been knocked out and lost another one by the points decision. So Brandon the Beast Cabell has really brought his game up. We heard John Scheinman mention it, growing in confidence.
Jenkins has pretty good hand speed here. Cabell's got to be on his P's and Q's defensively. Keep those gloves up.
I love that saying, P's and Q's.
Don't ask me what it stands for.
I was going to say that's the next question. You can't help me there, huh?
I'm not telling.
Jenkins taking aim at Cabell's body. Nice left hand there by Jenkins. Sneaks in and scores.
Well, Jenkins senses he's got to use that jab to keep Cabell off of him. He needs to use more of it.
See, Cabell's got that left hand way low, John. That's very dangerous. Overhand right that time by Jenkins.
Jenkins has good hand speed. I'll tell you what, Cabell's having a hard time dealing with it here, Larry.
He's getting tagged. No solid power shots, but scoring punches.
Jenkins is earning some respect here in the opening moments of the first round. And Jenkins has shown the ability to counterpunch here, too.
Cabell trying to find some rhythm here early in this fight. The lead has been taken by Jenkins. He's got his rhythm. Jenkins backing off a little bit here, though. Maybe a little tired here in round 1 already. John, it certainly seems heavyweights have a propensity to get tired a little quicker than the little men. Is that an accurate generalization?
I think it can be. It depends also if they're in tip-top condition, but they're carrying a lot of weight usually, and a lot of times heavyweights aren't in the best of shape, and they're not trained to fight 3 minutes of a round, as lighter weight fighters are. You know, it's kind of weird. I must be imagining this, but Cabell's gloves look small to me. I don't know why that is. They don't look like...
Big overhand right that time by Jenkins. That uppercut rocks Cabell.
Right now he's feeling the size of the gloves of his opponent.
See Brandon Cabell, who got tagged late in round 1, John.
Well, he got hit with some good shots in that first round. There was a sweeping right hand that knocked Cabell back a couple of steps. I thought that was a very impressive first round for Domonic Jenkins, especially considering he's coming out of town.
Jenkins from Texas, Cabell from nearby Baltimore, Maryland.
Well, the thing about boxing is, particularly with the heavyweights, you cannot relax for 1 minute when you're in that ring. And you see guys do it all the time, and sometimes they pay for it. Sometimes they don't.
Well, that's one of the reasons that our main eventer, Hasim Rahman, won the World Heavyweight Championship, because Lennox Lewis got a little too relaxed. Didn't really train properly because he was in that movie Ocean's 11 prior to the fight. And Rahman took advantage of that opportunity.
Excellent point.
Come on now.
See, Cabell in the black trunks, it seems to me, John, he needs a little more distance. A little too close to the opponent. He's got the quicker hands.
Well, he's trying to get on top of Jenkins. But usually when he does, he's fared the worse for it. He's going in with the jab, which is what he has to do. But Jenkins is counterpunching, and he's done a very effective job of it in the first round.
Cabell needs to use that reach.
Now, Jenkins is waiting more and more this second round.
Looks like he's almost slowed down a little bit, John, here, and maybe exerted too much energy in round 1. Only a 4-round fight, however.
Yeah, he looks a little winded for having only fought 1 round, does Jenkins.
There's that jab. He scored with a nice uppercut in round 1 to rock Cabell.
And Cabell looks a little bit fresher here, and he's a little more the aggressor in the second round. And he's using that jab, doubling up on it through the lead right hand there and missed. Did Cabell. But he's trying to be the aggressor in the fight. The question is he being effective enough at it? Is he hitting Jenkins with solid, effective punches? Can't just walk your guy down. That doesn't do it.
Cabell using a good strategy here, beginning to stalk Jenkins a little bit. I think the tide has turned. Well, just as I say that, Jenkins fires off some power shots.
Well, Jenkins has been resting for the first minute and a half of the round. He looked tired when the round started.
Step back. My man, you're holding too much now.
Voice of Kenny Chevalier.
Yeah, he wants these guys fighting. I like that. If you want to hold each other, go to a movie.
Oh, fellas, let them hands loose.
I'm not going to say anything, John. There's several good lines I could fire your way right now, but
just don't hit me with any of them.
Round 2 winding down. This fight tightening up. Scheduled for 4 rounds here in the ballroom. All right, welcome back to the ballroom. Larry Michael with Jon Saraceno. Jon Scheinman with us as well. Who's winning this 4-rounder midway through, John?
Nobody, Larry. 19-19. First round to Jenkins. Second round to Cabell. I don't know what happened to Jenkins there in the second round. Beautifully set up in the pocket, counter-punching Cabell in the first round. He was timing the lazy left hand every single time. He got a lot of good hard shots in, and then he just stopped fighting in the second round. Cabell didn't do a lot, but he sure won the round.
Thank you, John. See Cabell right now teeing off on an active Domonic Jenkins.
Now that's interesting comment made by our partner Jon Scheinman, who is not sitting ringside right along with us. And had he been sitting ringside, I think he would have saw the same thing we did, Larry, and that was you see Jenkins taking some very deep breaths and taking a lot of blows in that second round. He was tired, and that's the reason why he was not as active.
No doubt about it, looking to find his second win here in round 3. Cabell starts strong here in round 3, but this is a very, very tight fight. The CompuBox stats concur.
And those are the kinds of things you don't get off television either, frankly.
Gotta
I mean, you could tell when somebody's obviously tired, when they're arm weary, they've been fighting a lot of rounds and they're exhausted, but early in a fight, you don't expect the guy to be tired like that.
Now, he threw a lot in round 1. Maybe came out a little too fast. Right now, he's waiting on Cabell.
Cabell is tired of the chase. My man, one more time now, I'm gonna take one, watch it.
No. Kenny Chevalier, I think, just warned Jenkins about deducting a point, didn't he?
Yes, yes.
And he'll do it.
Again, Cabell getting in close with Jenkins. Cabell looks like the fresher of the two right now. Of course, the main event still to come. Hasim Rahman, the former world heavyweight champion, one fight away, most likely from a world championship opportunity, and that fight is coming up later tonight.
Don't hold.
Kenny Chevalier keeping an eye on Jenkins for holding. Again, Cabell from a distance lands the right hand. Not so sure Jenkins has scored with a headshot since round 1, John.
No, he hasn't. I tell you what, Cabell's better learn to get his hands up after he throws. He is going to pay for that one day. He's got his hands very low after he delivers a punch. Right there, you saw him get hit. See?
Yeah, his left hand way low.
Yeah. He's got to, after he fires, he's got to come back. Those gloves got to come up around his jawline. He's a little lazy defensively. He's a lot lazy defensively.
Well, he leaps in with that left hook, partially blocked by Jenkins.
But Jenkins isn't doing very much.
Nice left-right combination at the bell by Jenkins. The 4th and final round will be next. 4th and final round coming up here at the ballroom. Very close fight. Domonic Jenkins and Brandon Cabell. Action from round 3.
Well, left hook there by Jenkins. And then a snapping right hand just drilled Cabell. Jenkins came back a little bit in that 3rd round, Larry. I gave it to him. I've got him ahead by 1 point going into the 4th and final round.
There you see the CompuBox stats. Also very, very close. Jon Scheinman, what's your scorecard say?
Larry, through the opera glasses from the upper mezzanine, I've got it 29-28 for Domonic Jenkins. He's the guy in the black trunks, I think. That was an extremely close round. It could have gone either way, and you know, it's like throwing a dart. I think this one's up for grabs. I'd like to see one of the fighters show a lot of initiative. Young fighters really need to grab their career by the horns at a point like this. Let's see who wants to do it.
I don't know, John, but I think Jon Scheinman certainly can afford some eye surgery. Let's see if we can get him to come off with some of that money. And then the ring, Brandon Cabell and Domonic Jenkins. This is a very tight fight. You would think that this could be what determines it right here, these last couple minutes of the fourth and final round.
Well, it has been that competitive. Yeah, like I said, I've got Jenkins unofficially ahead in this fight. I thought he had fought a terrific first round. I took the second round off. The third round, I thought he came back a little bit stronger and did just enough to win the round. But it has been a very close fight.
Jenkins with the right hand scores, bringing it right now, taking the offensive.
Well, he's really turned those punches over too on Cabell.
There's a cut over the left eye of Brandon Cabell. This being the fourth and final round, I don't think it'll be a factor. Could be right there on the eyelid. Cabell misses the uppercut. I mean, every punch counts right now, John. Stiff jab by Jenkins scores as Cabell moves forward. Some blood coming from the mouth of Domonic Jenkins. It's been a good competitive heavyweight fight. Think Jenkins taking this final round, John?
Well, yeah, I do think he's taking it.
Jenkins really digging deep. Right hand by Cabell scored. And neither man showing much defense here in this fourth round.
Well, Cabell needs to take some more chances here. He throws a slapping right hand that hit him with a good solid left. Cabell's got to work on that right hand and his defense.
Good fight, goes the distance. Blood coming from the left eye of Brandon Cabell, but he'll get that stitched up later. The decision for the ballroom when we return. All right, welcome back to the ballroom. Larry Michael with Jon Saraceno. This heavyweight matchup goes the distance. Domonic Jenkins and Brandon Cabell. Very, very tight fight. Who won it?
I had Jenkins ahead. I just thought he landed the more significant punches. I think he ended up wearing down Cabell. And in the end, I thought he won a hard-fought victory.
It was a close one going the distance. Let's find out who was victorious from Pat O'Malley.
Your attention, please, ladies and gentlemen. We go to the scorecards. Judge Holmes scores it 39-37, Cabell. Judge Malik Waleed scores it 39-37, Jenkins. And Judge John Gradowski scores it 39-37. The winner by a split decision, Brandon the Beast Cabell.
Brandon Cabell takes home the victory, and a smattering of boos here in the ballroom. You don't hear that much here in the ballroom, so a controversial decision as Cabell takes home the W.
Well, if I wasn't wearing a headset right now with a microphone attached to it, I too would be booing that decision.
Seeing that Jenkins did the most in the final round, if it was as close as we thought it was, but on a couple of judges' scorecards, it was a 2-point discrepancy, and on the other, it was a 2-point discrepancy in favor of Jenkins.
And that's how I had it scored. But again, judges are paid to do a professional job, and they saw it the other way for Cabell. I'm sure Jenkins is going to holler hometown decision.
Let's find out what Cabell, the winner, has to say. He's standing by with our partner, Jon Scheinman. John.
Well, Brandon, I got to be honest with you. I didn't think you won the fight, but some of those rounds were really close, particularly the third round. The first round, I thought Jenkins really controlled you by landing a lot of counter punches. What'd you do in the second round to turn it around? A round you clearly took.
Well, actually, my corner, they told me to let my hands go a little bit more, try to get out. I underestimated his speed. That was my problem coming in here. I'm thinking he was going to be a little slower. So he kind of caught me off guard the first round. The second round, my corner said, pick up the pace a little bit. You got to go in here and fight this guy.
In the third round, I think I scratched out my scorecard 3 different times trying to decide who won the round. Going into the fourth round, did you think you were ahead?
Well, actually, I knew it was close and everything, so my whole intentions was to go in this last round, give it all I got, and look, I'm sitting here right now. So.
Well, one of the things that we were talking about was you seemed to drop your left hand a bit after the jab, but I noticed that you were looking to hook off the jab as well. What are some of the things that you learned about yourself coming out of this fight? You're still an up-and-coming prospect.
Well, that was something I was working on me personally in the gym, but my coach is always screaming on me, Luke Butler, always telling me keep my hands up and everything. I just felt a little bit more comfortable, but now after fighting this type of fight, I know that I need to keep my hands up a little bit more and everything and execute from a higher point.
Brandon Cabell's career rising. Few boos mixed in with the cheers here, but this is the hometown guy, and he's on his way up. Let's go back to ringside.
Yeah, good job, Jon Scheinman. Cabell with a lot of honesty there. We'll have more ballroom boxing in a minute from Michael's 8th Avenue. Welcome back to the ballroom. Larry Michael with Jon Saraceno in the ring right now. Tassos Panayiotou now calling himself Taz Titan from Greece, living in Atlantic City. Dan Whetsel, his opponent. Jon Scheinman with more on this one. John?
Larry, when you're going to make a name for yourself in America, I think Taz Titan's going to be easier to remember for the fans. And Panayiotou is hoping to make a name for himself. Greek amateur champion when he left Greece to come to the United States. This is his pro debut. He's a huge, huge man on the size of a Klitschko-style fighter, and he's fighting a guy named Dan Whetsel tonight, strictly an opponent type from Toledo, Ohio, with a 1-and-run record. It's a chance for Taz Titan to begin to make a name for himself here and get his feet wet to American-style boxing.
All right, we're going to see what Taz Titan has at his pro debut. Let's get it started with Pat O'Malley. Patrick.
Your attention, please, ladies and gentlemen. It's time now for more ballroom boxing. Your referee in charge is Bill Holmes. Judging this bout at ringside, Kenny Chevalier, John Gradowski, and Malik Waleed. Your scorekeeper is Pat Pinella. The timekeeper is Don Risher. Introducing the boxers. First to my left, out of the red corner, wearing the white trunks with the black trim. He weighed in at 244 pounds. He comes to us from Atlantic City via Greece. He's making his professional debut. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the ballroom, Taz the Titan. To my right, out of the blue corner, wearing the black trunks. He weighed in at 224.5 pounds. From Toledo, Ohio. His record is 1-1. Please welcome Dan Whetsel. Referee Bill Holmes with the instructions.
Taz Titan is a mountain of a man, and Wetzel looks like he's in pretty good shape as well. So it'll be the clash of the Titan, in fact, John. How about that for a good line? Let's look at the matchup quickly.
Well, the numbers speak for themselves. Taz Titan, younger, taller, heavier. Question is he a better fighter? Let's find out.
We're going to find out. Taz Titan, the taller of the two men. White trunks with a black trim. Dan Whetsel in the black trunks. Tassos Panayiotou from Greece, calling himself Taz Titan. Pretty good hand speed for a big man. Obviously needs to do a little bit of work on his body.
Now, Larry, who are you rooting for in this fight?
I'm rooting for the better man, John, as I always do here at ringside. No, I am completely unbiased. Taz Titan showing some pretty good hand speed, though, and there's a huge cut over the right eye of Dan Whetsel.
That's the least of his problems right now.
Man, he has been busted open right over the right eye with that opening flurry by Taz Titan. Also, his nose is pouring out blood.
I think he broke his nose also. He did. That nose is swelling up.
Oh, goodness, it's gone ugly early here in this one.
Wow.
Load of blood. Straight right hand by Titan.
Well, Titan's got some long reach. He sticks that jab in your nose, and then he throws the right hand.
Looks like he stuck it up Wetzel's nose. I mean, Wetzel is a bloody pulp already.
That's
just moments into this fight.
That's about as fast as you've ever seen a guy turn that red.
Golly. Taz Titan with the uppercut. I mean, that blood is just pouring out of the nose of Dan Whetsel. He's in terrible shape. Huge uppercut. Nice combination by Taz Titan. Good hand speed from the Greek man.
Coming right at us with that bloody mug of his.
Oh, man, Wetzel's in bad shape.
My dry cleaner is going to be in worse shape if he gets any closer.
I mean, that is ugly. Just a nasty, nasty cut over his right eye and a crunching right hand by Tassos Panayiotou.
Wow, that is a proverbial mask of blood.
That is not pretty.
Bill Holmes isn't even flinching in the ring. Look at his face, Bill Holmes.
Oh, look, there's a terrible knot on the side of Wetzel's head as well, right on the temple. Taz Titan has just beaten him to a bloody pulp here in round 1. Gotta believe the doctor's gonna take a look at Wetzel.
If they can find his face beneath the blood.
Goodness gracious. I don't know. Wow. Taz Titan's throwing a lot of leather here in round 1.
The problem is Wetzel's fighting back. That's why Holmes isn't even thinking of stopping it. He really is.
I don't think I've seen anybody get that bloody that quick.
Well, Wetzel's going to have a short career.
Taz Titan is covered with Wetzel's blood as round 1 mercifully coming to a close here in the ballroom.
The Titan wanted to go to the body, but he didn't do it.
We'll be back after a short timeout. Welcome back to Ballroom Boxing. The doctor in the ring.
How you feel?
Very impressive hand speed from the big man from Greece.
Especially for a guy that large. I mean, he is humongous in there. And he's got a good jab.
I think this fight is over. Looking at the doctor, looking at the cut. Yes, this fight is over, so it'll be a TKO win for Taz Titan in his pro debut. Hard to find a lot out about a guy in 1 round, but I think you saw that this kid has some skills.
And people don't understand, it's hard for a man that large to be that coordinated. Little guys can make it look easy. They can throw punches in rapid fashion, but wow, what a performance, and a rookie performance, a debut.
Hey, you know what? That's an impressive performance for a guy that big. Obviously, you bring a young man like that along slowly with his amateur background. If you can develop his body a little bit, I'd say he's got a very bright future.
Well, he's got an interesting future, no doubt. At 6'9" and an accomplished amateur, but this is the professional ranks. He's got to make that transition to the pros. And I think you're right, Larry. He does have to get a little bit stronger. He looked a little bit flabby, but he's got a frame where he can put muscle on it.
No doubt about it. Let's make this one official with Pat O'Malley.
Your attention, please, ladies and gentlemen. Referee Bill Holmes stops the bout after round 1 at the advice of the physician. The winner by TKO in his professional debut, Taz the Titan.
So Taz Titan the winner. Let's look back at action from that single first round as he just absolutely busted Wetzel wide open early and cruised home to that TKO.
Well, it all started with that good left hand, and there you see throwing the right cross in there, the uppercut underneath, left, right, left, hooking off the jab. You know, again, because of his size, he's a little bit ponderous sometimes when he throws punches. He's going to have to learn to move that head and dip down a little bit. He can't be standing that erect because he will fight guys who are going to be a little more craftier defensively and quicker fisted. So it's not going to be this easy every fight for Taz Titan, but tonight, wow, was it easy.
Let's see what Titan has to say. He's standing by with Jon Scheinman.
Taz, did you ever expect anything like that in your life for your pro debut?
I was properly prepared. I hard work. I had very hard work in the gym. Mr. Johnson in Atlantic City. I didn't expect it so easy, but it just came with the work.
Now you're only 1-0, but judging from what I've seen tonight, your hand speed is probably going to be as good as a lot of the top guys in the division. How long do you think it's going to take you to get your pro career going to the point where you're up in the rankings?
I think with Sestos management, the company who promotes me and manage me, it won't take so much long. And I think pretty soon I will be in the top ratings of the division.
Are you in the United States to stay for good, or would you maybe go back to Europe to fight for European titles?
No, I want to. My dream is to fight here, the top heavyweights of the country, and take place among them.
Watch the name Taz Titan. This was a devastating victory in his pro debut in the Ballroom. Let's go back to ringside.
Good victory for Taz Titan, well spoken, and a man we want to keep our eye on in the future. Ballroom boxing coming your way after a timeout. Forrest, Neal, and Kenny Lunkins getting ready to square off. We saw Lunkins last time out in the Ballroom. He was very impressive. With more on this matchup, head over to Jon Scheinman. John?
Well, Larry, was pretty impressive in getting the win, but I thought it was a really tough fight after a 2-year layoff against Eric Starr for Kenny Lunkins. He came in with a big record, 18-0, and the competition he fought was really suspect. I think you figure a guy with a 19-0 record is pretty established, but I think the jury is still out a little bit on him. I have a hunch that this test tonight against Forrest Neal, a long, lanky jabber, is going to be the defining moment in Lunkins' career. The only time we've seen Forrest Neal was when he fought Darnell the Dingling Man Wilson, who blasted him out in 2 rounds. That's an unfair test for a lot of guys because of Wilson's power. I think we're going to see Neal give a better account of himself, and we're going to find out what Lunkins is made of and see if that undefeated record is real tonight.
All right, thank you, John. Let's get this one officially introduced with Pat O'Malley.
Your attention, please, ladies and gentlemen. It's time now for more Ballroom Boxing. The Maryland State Athletic Commission Chairman David J. Norman, Executive Director Patrick Pinella, and Ballroom Boxing promoters Scott and Michael J. Wagner, along with matchmaker Chris Middendorf and Director of Boxing Operations Dave Wilkerson, present the 6th-round bout in the Cruiserweight division. Your referee in charge is John Gradowski. Judging the bout at ringside, Kenny Chevalier, Bill Holmes, and Malik Waleed. Your scorekeeper, Pat Pinella. The timekeeper, Don Risher. Introducing the boxers. First, to my left, out of the red corner, wearing the red and black trunks. He weighed in at 187.5 pounds. He comes to us from Detroit, Michigan. His record, 15-4, 11 KOs. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the Ballroom, Forrest Cisco Neal. To my right, out of the blue corner, wearing the red trunks with black trim. He weighed in at 180 pounds. He is from Coral Springs, Florida. His record, 19-0-1. 14 via the KO. Please welcome to the Ballroom, Kenny, bring it on, Lunkins.
Lunkins has a fine record, 19-0, but he's only fought 3 times in 4 years, and once over the last 2 years. That last time was in the Ballroom. John Gradowski, the referee, and Jon Saraceno with a look at this one in the matchup. John?
Well, Neal's got a reach advantage and a weight advantage, but you're right, Kenny Lunkins' inactivity is what's held him back. He needs to get on a regular course of fighting. Tonight goes against Forrest Neal.
Well, I remember him saying to Jon Scheinman after his last win over Eric Starr that he needed to be more active and he liked fighting here, and sure enough, he is back. Doesn't look like he's very warmed up, though. Doesn't want to touch gloves with Forrest Neal either.
Not very gentlemanly.
No.
Then again, they're not here to be gentlemen.
As Scheinman mentioned to us, it was Darnell Wilson, the Dingling Man, a crowd favorite here in the Ballroom, blowing Forrest Neal out in Neal's last matchup, a 3-round TKO. Prior to that, though, a 2-round TKO win for Neal with a fine record of 15-4, 11 wins by knockout.
Well, I tell you what, if Neal keeps backing straight up the way he's doing, he could be in for a very short evening.
This fight is scheduled for 6 rounds.
You see, it seems like more nowadays fighters making fundamental errors in the ring, mostly defensively. I don't know if they're not getting the training they used to get, or they're not listening, or both.
Well, you see Forrest Neal trying to lean on the head of Lunkins. Just checking out Forrest Neal early. The right hand way low. Good left hand, though, by Neal. As long as he stays offensive, that right hand might not get him into trouble.
Well, Neal looks to hit and retreat. You can see that back foot always in the back pedaling motion as soon as he throws. He dropped his mouthpiece out.
Out of the mouth of Neal. A little overexcited that time.
Yes, he did.
Forrest Neal from Detroit. First fight here in the ballroom. Tommy Gallagher, the trainer, in the corner of Lunkins. John, what does that inactivity do to a guy other than the so-called ring rust? How does it affect him in a negative way coming into a fight like this, say with a guy with a long reach?
Well, I think your timing is never the same when you're not in the ring actively, whether you're sparring regularly or getting ready for fights. And, you know, tonight he's fighting a southpaw. So it's, you know, it makes it even more difficult. And the less you fight, the less sharp you're going to be. I mean, your skills deteriorate. I don't care what sport it is. I think it's particularly so for boxing, where reflexes, timing, as in a lot of sports, is key.
Neal trying to use that reach advantage and trying to stay away from Lunkins. Lunkins 14 knockouts out of 19 wins. So he's got some pop.
Well, you see Lunkins try to shoot that lead right hand, textbook punch against an orthodox fighter. But he's got to remember to jab too.
Round one winding down here in the ballroom. Taking a look at the CompuBox stats. Round one, Lunkins really did not land many punches. Neal getting the better of the exchanges in round one, at least statistically.
Well, that's what I thought. I gave Neal the round. It was fairly close, but Lunkins still trying to feel his way out against the southpaw. A southpaw with a long jab and a rangy fighter, tall, rangy fighter. Not an easy assignment for Lunkins, particularly if you've had those layoffs, as you alluded to.
I was going to say, it just hit me that this is a very tough opponent for a guy that hasn't fought much. A long, lanky left-hander who likes to use that reach advantage. This is not an easy target for Lunkins.
Honestly, I don't even know why you would make this fight if you're Lunkins management.
Lunkins with the black shoes, the white shoes on Forrest Neal. Fight is scheduled for 6 rounds. Our main event tonight, former world heavyweight champion Hasim Rahman continues on the comeback trail against a very ready Rob Calloway.
Lunkins got to remember to move that head against the jab. It's getting picked off a little bit here by Neal.
Forrest Neal just using that jab. This fight beginning to slow down a little bit here as Neal's jab has slowed. Now Lunkins moving forward.
Yeah, you see Lunkins just trying to tap him, Larry, so he can get closer. Just hit him. And he can move in to throw that right hand, preferably a lead right hand. But he's first got to get out of the way of the jab and then come back.
It's a little abrasion on the bridge of the nose of Kenny Lunkins.
And you see Lunkins circling to his left to stay away from the left hand of Neal.
Lunkins eats 2 left hands from Neal. One thing here is good left hand by Neal again. I'm not so sure Neal can keep this pace up even for this 6th rounder.
Well, right now, Neal content to safely box Lunkins at a distance, and Lunkins has been unable to launch an effective, aggressive attack on the inside. He's trying to box Neal, a taller Ranger fighter, from the outside. It's really not working. Now, if he can find a way to break him down to the body, maybe. But you see how far on the outside Lunkins is. I think he's got to narrow that gap, Larry. He's got his punches way in by, and that's the only way he's going to do it. It almost looks like he's just waiting to throw that lead right hand. He's trying to time it to land that one shot.
It's like Lunkins just closing the distance. He's round 2 comes to a close here. This fight scheduled for 6. Neal with the assault. As the second round wears out, more ballroom boxing coming up from Michael's 8th Avenue. Looking back at action from round 2, Forrest Neal using that reach advantage.
He's been landing with those long left hands and the jab. And a good finish to that round. I gave Neal the first 2 rounds, Larry.
See what Jon Scheinman has to say. CompuBox stats showing more of the same. Neal outlanding Lunkins in the first 2 rounds, Jon Scheinman.
Rare and shocking Scheinman Saraceno agreement on this one. 2018 Forrest Neal. I don't know what Kenny Lunkins is going to do here to get into this fight, because he's got a big range-finding jab out in front of him and a snapping sharp left hand from Forrest Neal that comes from way outside, and Neal has to find a way to get inside to land shots. He might want to dip and feint and then try to throw to the body and not even worry about the head, but I'm telling you something, he's got a handful in front of him after 2.
No doubt about it. Kenny Lunkins has that unbeaten record on the line, going right to the body of Forrest Neal. Good strategy.
That's what he's got to do. He's allowing Neal to dictate the flow and rhythm of the fight by standing on the outside of a taller, rangier fighter. He's trying to outbox him when he's got to move inside and let his hands loose. Now, he may have to get hit occasionally on the way in, but like they say, if you go swimming, you got to get wet. So he's got to do more of that.
In just a 6th round fight, he can't afford to give away any more rounds.
I mean, it looks like to me he's loading up for the lead right hand. I think that's what he's trying to shoot.
Question is here, can the taller and leaner Forrest Neal continue to jab throughout a 6th rounder? Because right now he's looking pretty good.
And Neal clips him as he charges on the inside, and he's been doing that. But Lunkins is going to have to take some chances, Larry. He cannot box this man from the outside and win a decision, I don't think.
Nice combination by Neal.
He got backhanded there. Lunkins used the backhand and was not warned. Lunkins a very awkward, as a lot of southpaws are, kind of a fighter. Not an easy guy to fight. Excuse me, Forrest Neal. Thank you to the men in the truck.
Nice pot shot that time by Forrest Neal. And again, the reach advantage of the southpaw stance causing Lunkins a lot of problems here.
Yes, once again, Forrest Neal, the taller of the 2 fighters, as your analysts hopefully will remember.
There's a good shot by Lunkins, the only real clean power shot of this round. There's the warning for the backhand from John Gradowski. Lunkins doing a better job of getting inside the reach of Forrest Neal, but really not doing much once he gets there.
Well, he's unable to let his hands loose because he's getting caught on the inside, but he's not fighting a very effective fight.
The reach of Neal, the key so far here in the ballroom.
He's ready for you. Go off first and go.
Good example of what has made the difference so far in this one for Neal is that reach advantage.
Okay, round number 4, Kenny, okay?
And you can see it graphically there on our replay. Just Neal's right jab, and then he follows through with those short left hands when he moves inside. Lunkins being outlanded by Neal through 3 rounds, 57 to 23 punches landed, according to CompuBox.
More than twice the connect rate.
And that's basically how we have it scored unofficially at ringside.
Midway through, Jon Scheinman, who's leading on your scorecard?
Well, Neal, I gave him the last round as well. He's up 30-27. One of the main mistakes that Lunkins is making here is that on going inside, he is just lunging when he tries to land the power shot. His jab is too short, so he can't get in. What he has to do is feint his way in. He will feint, Neal will try to counter, and then he'll be able to land a shot at an exposed body. But if he just lunges in, Neal is going to set him up and time him all night long.
And that's a good point, and he just did it right there. But he's got to do more of that. Really, Lunkins looks befuddled. Again, I don't know if he knew he was going to fight a guy that was a southpaw, this tall, this rangy. And if he didn't prepare for the right kind of fighter in the gym, I got to believe Tommy Gallagher's been around the game a long time. They had to know who they were fighting. They should have known. But it's hard to find a guy to duplicate Neal.
It's a tough draw. Very tough draw.
I don't even see him throwing many lead right hands.
Nice quick left hand by Forrest Neal. Again, the reach advantage. And you're right. Lunkins is befuddled.
It's just a bad styles matchup for Lunkins. It really is.
Really been controlled by that reach.
Grigowski warned Neal for grabbing behind the head, but it was kind of a subtle move there by Neal to grab Lunkins' head as Lunkins lunged forward and control him. And that's what size will do for you, if you can use it effectively. Muhammad Ali did that for years, using his arms and his reach to hold guys' heads down. And that'll wear on a fighter. That will make you tired. It'll make your neck stiff and sore, make your arms weary.
Lunkins trying to bob and weave his way in.
Well, he did something there you're not allowed to do, which is to bounce off the ropes, too.
Neal very shifty. No doubt about that.
Well,
that's it, Kenny. That's it, Kenny. That's it.
Lunkins is totally discouraged right now, Larry. And that's why you see him fighting so ineffectively. He just doesn't know what to do. He can't land anything significant. And so he's waiting on the outside for something to happen. Well, guess what? The only thing that's happening is getting picked apart.
That hole is getting very deep for Kenny Lunkins. 2 rounds to go in the ballroom. All right, welcome back to the ballroom action from round 4. More of the same from Forrest Neal. That time a lead right by Lunkins scored.
But he's not had enough of that. Difficult assignment to get past that range-finding jab of Neal.
Jon Scheinman with 2 rounds to go. How far ahead do you have Neal?
Larry, that was a critical round for Lunkins, losing it down 40-36, because now on my unofficial card, he needs to score a knockout to win. There's no way he can pull out a decision. And the thing that he hasn't done, which is kind of surprising considering Tommy Gallagher is in his corner, is adjust and make changes. If you only have one battle plan and it's not working, you've got to be able to make an adjustment and do something different. So far, we've seen the same fight from him for 4 rounds, and none of it's worked.
Well, I watched Tommy Gallagher descend the steps from that last break between rounds, and he was not a happy camper. He looks disgusted.
Well, Lunkins really has done nothing to adjust. You're right, John. We're fighting the same fight against the man who's controlled the tempo from the first round, and it hasn't changed.
And I tell you what, Neal knows all the little tricks, and he's been using them. He really has. And he just has Lunkins totally bottled up. A little bit of blood coming from Lunkins' mouth.
Yes, indeed. Lunkins, we remind you, with the unbeaten record, 19-0, risking it on the line here tonight in the ballroom. Right now, it doesn't look good for that unbeaten record, does it?
Well, I'm going to go back to what we talked about earlier, and that is this was a bad match for a guy who's been as inactive as Lunkins. This is the wrong style. It'd probably be the wrong style every time to fight this guy, but certainly when you have a lot of inactivity, this is not the kind of guy you want to fight.
Lunkins still looking for some kind of offensive window of opportunity. Just doesn't have the skill or the strategy to be able to get inside that reach.
They might have thought they had a soft touch here tonight and that Neal's chin was suspect. But the problem is Lunkins hasn't gotten close enough to really test it.
You're right.
Or test it effectively, you know, in succession. He's going to need a Sunday punch here, Larry, to pull this one out, unless we're just watching this all wrong.
Now, we're watching it right. There's no doubt about it. Lunkins really not done a lot offensively. You see the blood just pouring out of his mouth onto his chest now.
Neal just beating Lunkins to the punch, toying with him, using effective lateral movement. He's not running. He's using a small square, I should say a small circle in the center of the square ring, and it's working for him.
Crafty performance by Forrest Neal with 3 minutes to go in the ballroom. Welcome back to the ballroom. John, did you catch, was there some dissension in the corner of Lunkins?
Well, I heard Tommy Gallagher say, keep your mouth shut then, but I'm not sure why he meant that. Could have been a physical thing. But he sounded irritated when he said it.
CompuBox stats again in favor of Forrest Neal. Quickly, John Scheinman, your scorecard going into the final round.
Well, I think he said keep his mouth shut because he didn't want a glove to enter it, but otherwise, 50-45, absolute shutout, minor masterpiece from Forrest Neal here.
Lunkins still has the power, though, to be able to take him out here in the final round.
I have it scored the same way. I think it's clear, even if you gave Lunkins a round or two, and he's going to need a knockout to win. He needs a prayer here. He needs to have a prayer answered. Well, I'll tell you what, a very impressive win for Forrest Neal. Even though he was not pressured effectively by Lunkins, you got to give it to Neal. He fought the textbook fight against this guy tonight.
And we questioned early on if he could keep it up through the 6 rounds, and he has.
Yeah, he is not, well, again, when you're not being hit very much and you're not being pressured, he's basically fresh as a proverbial daisy out there.
Right.
It looked like he could go 12 rounds. I mean, he's made it look really easy, and it's not that easy.
Oh, I believe a low shot that time from Lunkins, putting Forrest Neal down. And Forrest Neal down, complaining about the low blow, and John Gradowski is going to give him 5 minutes to recover. And I don't know if Neal should be doing this, unless he really is hurt.
Well, I think he was hurt there. Here's a.
I don't know. That wasn't much of a punch that time to cause that kind of damage.
Well, I don't think he was faking it. I don't think he has any need to at this point. Oh, it was a low blow. He hit him below the belt.
So here we go, back to live action.
I tell you what, Neal looks really unhappy about it, too.
Oh, Lunkins is hurt. Lunkins is hurt.
Yeah, and Neal is not happy about that low blow, and Lunkins is about to pay for it.
There goes the mouthpiece of Lunkins.
Now we know it was a real low blow.
Oh, now John Gradowski calls time, and this is a
he's
bailout for Lunkins for sure, because he was in bad shape.
You ought to lose 2 points when you do that in a situation like that. They ought to just automatically deduct 2 points.
Lunkins coming back. Still a minute to go in the final round.
I think Neal would like to get a knockout here or a stoppage.
Well, he had Lunkins in trouble. That's a good right hand that time by Forrest Neal.
Boy, he snapped his head right back, right in front of us as the blood goes flying.
Lunkins in real trouble. Still 40 seconds to go.
Well, Neal should go to the body here because Lunkins is tying him up. He's covering up around the head. He should dig downstairs.
Well, Neal wants the knockout, no doubt about it. He's got the victory, all but assured. And now he's beating up Kenny Lunkins in the final round.
Wow, what a bad performance for Ray Lunkins to watch his unbeaten record go down the drain. Tommy Gallagher despondent in Lunkins' corner.
And Lunkins has done a good job staying upright. Whoa, John Gradowski.
And he got his stoppage.
Halts the fight with seconds remaining. And he gets the TKO win. How about that?
Well, you know what? I think he basically deserved it because when he spit the bit, the mouthpiece, he was ready to possibly go right there. And Lunkins, just the kind of fight you don't want against the kind of fighter you don't want. It was a bad match from the beginning, and Lunkins paid for that mismatch tonight, and it was a mismatch. We had it scored a shutout.
We'll be back after a short timeout. Welcome back to Ballroom Boxing. Forrest Neal gets the TKO win in the 6th round. Let's take a look at how it ended. Lunkins was defenseless. Just covering up.
And I tell you what, Neal hadn't even hit him with a real hard shot there, but he was getting ready to.
Jon Gradowski steps in, and
it's a good move, Larry. You know why? The fight was over anyway. He could have gotten seriously hurt. All it takes is one punch there at the end where your fighter is really defenseless.
This is how the end was set up. And again, Kenny Lunkins was not responding, not punching back, just almost going into a fetal position.
Yeah, that's fatigue. And you got a long-rangey puncher. There goes the mouthpiece again from Lunkins. It was a good time for Jon Gradowski to call a halt to the action. Lunkins had enough.
So Forrest Neal is the winner tonight in the ballroom. Pat O'Malley standing by to give us the official time. Send it up to Pat.
Your attention, please, ladies and gentlemen. The winner by TKO at 250 of round 6, Forrest Cisco Neal.
So Forrest Neal deals Kenny Lunkins his first loss as a professional. Dominating the fight from the opening round with the reach advantage and the quick hands. Lunkins never got anything going, and he is stopped in the 6th and final round. More ballroom boxing coming up in a moment from Michael's 8th Avenue. All right, so Forrest Neal is the winner tonight. The upset over previously unbeaten Kenny Lumpkins. Lumpkins dealt his first loss as a professional with the winner. Here's John Scheinman.
Coming off a big knockout loss to Darnell Wilson, this has got to feel good, Forrest.
Well, you know, first I want to thank Lord Jesus Christ for letting me get this round and let me get this fight. And, yeah, it feels good to come back off a loss. And, you know, I'm just, you know, trying to come back and better my career.
You established your game plan immediately in the first round, keeping a lot of distance between you two, making him lunge, and then firing off the quick, sharp left hand. Were you surprised as the fight went on how easy it was? Or maybe it wasn't as easy as we thought it was?
Well, you know, it was very easy for me. You know, it was just a stepping stone in my career that, you know, it's going to get better down in time. Looking for a title fight, you know. And if Darnell want to take another shot, you know, give me a rematch on that fight, I'll be more happy to give it to him so we can take care of this too. That's how it goes.
Sounds like you're taking a victory over an undefeated fighter is all in a day's work. 6th round, he hit you with a low blow. Did that make you mad and make you seek the knockout, or were you sensing he was getting tired and you went after it anyway?
Well, you know, I seek the knockout because, you know, boxing is what I do, and I'm desperate for the championship fights. And, you know, the low blow, you know, he had to play dirty to get at me, but, you know, I still come victory at the end.
You're 16-4 now. What do you think the chances are of getting into a title contention?
Well, you know, if it's there possible, I'll be there, and I'm going to be ready, and I'll be ready for the next one.
Well, Forrest Neal turning in a sensational performance all 6 rounds and getting the stoppage late. Let's go back to ringside.
All right, thank you, John Scheinman. Forrest Neal very humble with the victory, but very impressive as well. More ballroom boxing coming up in a moment.
So we are set for our main event tonight from Michael's 8th Avenue. So much on the line tonight for Hasim Rahman. Can he win? Can he keep this victory streak intact? If he does, he'll be in line for a title shot a little bit down the road. Rob Callaway with the chance of a lifetime to upset Rahman and make his mark on the heavyweight division. Crowd is ready. The anticipation is built. A lot of pressure on Hasim Rahman. He needs to win, and he needs to win impressively tonight here in the ballroom. Let's get this one started as always.
Your attention, please, ladies and gentlemen. It's time now for the main event in the ballroom. The Maryland State Athletic Commission Chairman David J. Norman, Executive Director Patrick Pinella, Commissioners at ringside William Bill McCaffrey, Phil Feaster, and Raymond C. Dowell Jr. Secretary of the Maryland Department of Labor Licensing and Regulation, Dr. James D. Fielder Jr. Ballroom boxing promoters Scott and Michael J. Wagner, matchmaker Chris Middendorf, and the Director of Boxing Operations, Dave Wilkerson. Together, they proudly present this 10-round bout in the heavyweight division. And the man in charge where this 10-round bout commences is Malik Waleed. If a decision is necessary, it will be rendered by our 3 judges at ringside, Kenny Chevalier, John Gradowski, and Bill Holmes. It's time now to meet the combatants for this 10-round heavyweight ballroom brawl. First, to my left, out of the red corner, wearing the red, white, and blue American Stars and Stripes trunks. He weighed in at 208.5 pounds. He comes to us from St. Joseph, Missouri. His record, 48-4-1, 35 KOs. His record as a heavyweight, 14-2-1, 12 knockouts. Making his ballroom debut, please welcome Rob, the All-American prize fighter, Callaway. His opponent, to my right, out of the blue corner, is from Baltimore, Maryland. He weighed in at 247.75 pounds. He's wearing black trunks. His record is a gaudy 37-5-1 with 30 knockouts. He is the former USBA heavyweight champion, and more importantly, the former undisputed heavyweight champion of the world after putting Lennox Lewis on his back in April of 2001. He is currently #1 ranked contender by the WBA, #3 by the WBO, #4 by the WBC, and #5 by the IBO. He's working hard to once again rock the world. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the ballroom once again, Hasim the Rock Rahman.
So Rahman and Callaway set the score off. So much riding on this fight for Rahman. You can see he is in peak condition, 247 pounds. Callaway, a very lean 209. And Rahman eyeballing Callaway.
I expect good, clean boxing. When I say break, you both ought to stop punching, take a full step back, and remember, protect yourselves at all times. Touch them up, touch them up. Good luck to you both.
John, a quick look at the matchup.
Hasim Rahman, you see the weight disparity, a very large man and a heavy hitter punishing jab. Callaway got to find a way to get around that, really that size and power differential and find a way to box this man.
Callaway has never been knocked out. Rahman looking for a knockout. Something's going to give here. Rahman and Callaway. The next up for Rahman could be a world title fight. And we're underway. The fight is scheduled for 10 rounds here tonight.
Rahman's a little more polished fighter than he was when I first saw him a few years ago, fighting for another promoter. He's really settled down and become a little better schooled fighter, more confident, Larry.
And no doubt about it, winning the heavyweight championship did a lot for him mentally. Of course, he didn't hold it for long.
Well, part of the thing is it unglued him mentally, too, because he lost his focus, and I think he's had a hard time really getting it back. And by saying that, I mean getting into peak condition for all fighters.
Callaway trying to find somewhere to hit Rahman. Rahman at the 247 mark was 257 last time out, so
he looks better.
Definitely in better condition this time around.
But he can even get in better condition, and he's going to need to get in better condition to challenge for the heavyweight championship.
Rahman brought it back home to the Baltimore area to begin this so-called comeback. He says he never was away, just had a series of bad breaks. In his victory over Lennox Lewis, he was 238. So indicative that Rahman can get down into some prime fighting condition, and he thinks that he wants to peak when he fights for the championship next.
Rahman has a punishing jab when he really wants to use it. He gets lazy with it at times, though. Early on in his career, he relied on power exclusively. He was, he fought a series of opponents that he were really overmatched. He blew them out of there, and then he ran up to, into a couple tough guys, Maskaev being one of them. And I think he learned something from those fights. Of course, a sensational knockout, one-punch knockout of Lennox Lewis, and then just spiraled back downward, and he's had to dig himself out of that hole to get back into contention. He's on the verge of getting another heavyweight championship bout.
Callaway using some fast hands. Good jab by Rahman.
And you know,
there's that stiff jab.
Yeah, it's almost Sonny Liston-like. I mean, when he really steps into it and uses it, he will knock a guy back 2 or 3 feet. But a boxer, a skilled boxer, will give Rahman some problems. If you keep a jab in his face and show him just enough lateral movement, it will make it a difficult night for him. And that's what Lennox Lewis did in the rematch when he dominated him before stopping him.
A little bit of a cut above the right eye of Rob Callaway. Looks more like a scrape, but there is some blood there. Here as round 1 winds down in the ballroom.
Callaway's got to stay out of that corner.
There's that jab of Rahman again. There's a cut over the left eye of Callaway now. And the end of round 1. Round 2 underway here in the ballroom. The main event, Rob Callaway and the former world heavyweight champion Hasim Rahman.
Dan Raphael from USA Today pointed out that in Rahman's corner, he had 2 seconds standing in his corner in that round, which is, you could be disqualified for. So the commission did not see it. Dan Raphael did, though.
There's that jab by Rahman, scoring right on the bridge of Callaway's nose, who tries to get his jab going as well.
Well, that's exactly what Callaway has to do, but he's got to bring back that left hand quickly and cover up his cheek, because Rahman could counter.
Rahman pounding away on the side of Callaway.
Now see, Callaway's going to go downstairs because he perceives Rahman to be a little soft down there. In doing so, he's going to take a chance because he's going to expose himself. Good jab by Rahman.
Oh, crunching right hand to follow. Rahman scoring some good solid shots there.
Well, see, Rahman sees Callaway trying to fight his way into this fight, and Rahman's not going to allow that to happen, so he's going to pick up the pace here a little bit, Larry.
There's that jab again by Rahman. Callaway with a little cut under the left eye and a little cut above the left eye. Callaway going to the body of Rahman.
Right, it's clear.
Oh, the right hand by Rahman wobbles Callaway. Callaway's in some trouble. Another pounding shot with the right hand by Rahman and an uppercut.
And Rahman hitting him to the body to get him to let go so he can finish him off.
Still
this fight, yeah, it doesn't have long to go.
Minute 20 to go in this round. Rahman with the right hand, Callaway gamely hanging in. Callaway with the uppercut.
Gutty performance by Callaway, Larry. He's really hurt.
Pounding right hand by Rahman, sending Callaway down. Will he get up? He will not. Hasim Rahman, devastating right hand. That is the type of fight they were looking from Rahman tonight.
Well, he did what he had to do. He blew his opponent right through the roof of the ballroom here in Glen Burnie.
That's the first time Callaway's been knocked out. And that was a crunching combination by Rahman.
Yeah, Rahman can punch, and he's got enough boxing skills. Now, there's a little bit of a flurry in the ring between some of the corner people, but Rahman, an easy fight for Rahman. And to be honest with you, it should have been an easy fight. I was asked before the fight, how long would it last? I said 2 to 4 rounds, take your pick. It ended in the second round.
Rahman did a good job of sizing his opponent up, finding the opening. The jab got through. Then he followed with the right hand. And that was what was expected. 44% on the CompuBox stats by Rahman.
Well, it's obvious that the management of Hasim Rahman is going to take the way that most managers do. When you get your fighter coming back, we're going to get a replay here in the second round, Larry. You see Rahman missing with the left hook on the inside, but a punishing right hand along the temple, high on the head of his opponent. And that was the final shot that Callaway would take. Rahman knew the fight was over. I think we all knew the fight was over. We'll get another look here in the second round. Former heavyweight champion Hasim Rahman. Underneath comes Callaway. He was a game fighter tonight. He tried various ways, using the jab, fighting on the inside. There's Rahman missing with the left hook, but as Callaway straightens up, he's going to get drilled with a right hand.
That was the punch right there that put him out.
And it was an easy victory for the former heavyweight champion from Baltimore, Maryland.
So his quest remains intact, his quest for a shot to regain the heavyweight championship. The time, let's go to Pat O'Malley.
Your attention, please, ladies and gentlemen. The winner by knockout, 2 minutes in the round 2. And it's a happy birthday for Hasim Jr., who was 13 on Tuesday. Hasim the Rock Rahman.
We'll be right back with Jon Scheinman and an interview with the winner. Welcome back to Ballroom Boxing. Former world heavyweight champion standing by with Jon Scheinman.
Hasim, congratulations on the victory. Was this a difficult fight for you at any time?
Well, no. I mean, my game plan was to come out and be patient. I thought I would weigh this guy down and get him in the 6th, 7th, 8th round because I thought he was going to come out with a lot of movement. But the guy was deceptively strong, fast, and he came to fight. He ain't come do a Mario Crawler and lay down and just get some money. He came to fight. It was an opportunity of a lifetime for him. And I feel like that's when I'm at my best, when somebody's trying to fight.
Yeah, he seemed pretty relaxed in there. I was kind of surprised at that, were you?
So was I. I thought he would come out a little tentative, being as though, you know, I'm a former world champion, a future world champion. And he came right at me, tried to take it to me. Like I said, deceptively strong, quick. He was ready to go. I take my hats off to him. That's what make good fights. People gonna pay to see Mr. Callaway because he comes to bring it.
Your confidence seemed to rise a lot that you were gonna get this guy out when you backed him up and buckled him with that straight jab. Was that a pivotal moment in the fight?
Well, definitely. Whenever I feel like I can hurt him, I hurt my opponent with any punch. I got to try out to see exactly how much damage I really did. So, you know, that was my plan, to start picking up the pressure round by round by round. I know he felt like, you know, I couldn't go hard 10 rounds, and I would have thought that too based on some of my last performances. But I'm going to run 4 or 5 miles in the morning, and I'm getting ready to win this heavyweight championship. I got the strength. I got the experience. I have the skills. I just need to be in condition, and I'm going to win this thing. I'm going to set this heavyweight division straight. Y'all keep your eye on Rahman. Any champion I fight. I like to say happy birthday to my son. Any champion, you know, I take any champion. I ain't really ducking any champion. I can fight. I can flat out fight. And now that my mind is devoted on being in the gym every day, all day, it's going to be hard to stop me.
Hasim Rahman very confident, and he should be after a spectacular 2-round knockout over Rob Callaway at the Ballroom. Let's go back to ringside.
All right, good job, Jon Scheinman. So Rahman wins impressively, putting himself in line for a world championship shot. And as his manager there, Hoffman, said, Steve Nelson said, basically, Ruiz does not want to fight Rahman again. I guess he might have a little trepidation there.
Well, why would you want to fight Rahman? I thought Hasim gave a very good self-analysis of where he is in his career, and the key point he said was his focus. And if he is really going to walk it like he talks it, and he can back up getting that focus and concentration back, I believe he can win the heavyweight championship again.
So a good night of boxing here in the Ballroom for Jon Scheinman and Jon Saraceno. I'm Larry Michael. The Rock wins the big one tonight. We'll see you next time for Ballroom Boxing.